my country, faithful, loyal, and honest, serve Nigeria with all my strength, defend her unity, uphold and honor those who serve in God.
Distinguished parliamentarian, I welcome you today to another legislative session, and I hope you enjoyed the recess. Your patriotism is highly appreciated. We are here today to discuss and formulate rules on matters of public importance. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the first agenda on our today's legislative list is a matter of urgent public importance. Mr. President, we may now call on distinguished Senator Chikamso to read his prayer before the Senate.
Those in favor that Senator Chikamso do read his prayer before the Senate, say aye. Aye. Those against? Yeah, the ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am distinguished Senator Chikamso Opego. I am from Imo State. I represent the good people of Imo Southeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the primary function of any government is the protection of lives and properties. And Mr. President, the properties of my people are no longer safe. Unknown government has taken over Owerri Market, the capital of Imo State, where they burgle shops and cut away with properties worth billions of naira. Mr. President, traders are frustrated as no one is going to the market with a free mind. In be saying, Mr. President, these people attacked our community, and that attack left no less than 40 traders dead. Mr. President, you cannot develop the country without developing the human beings. And even the human beings you are developing even need to be alive to enjoy these dividends. That is the oath of allegiance that we all took to come up with these legislations that will impact our people positively. To curb this, Mr. President, I suggest that you liaise the necessary stakeholders so that an army barracks will be situated within embassy axis. That to complement the effort of the Nigerian police so that sanity and peace will be restored for business activities to thrive. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Your prayer has been sent to the Senate Committee on Humanitarian Affairs, and they are to report back to us in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Another item on our today's legislative list is another matter of urgent public importance. We may now call on distinguished Senator Mimido to read our prayer before the Senate.
Those in favor that Senator Mimido read her prayer before the Senate, please say aye. Aye. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. Senator Mimido.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Akos Mimido, and Mr. President, I present the people of Baby North Senatorial Zone from Benue State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is no longer news that the clash between farmers and herders in Benue State is so rampant and unchecked that almost every day people die. Many are displaced and are in different IDP camps. My colleagues, this continuous clash between the two groups have made it impossible for these people to be integrated or united with their families. Mr. President, the most recent one is that of the farmers' attack on the herders' attack on farmers and the gruesome murder of 59 farmers. And Mr. President, this happens to be where I come from. My people are no longer safe. Nobody is sleeping with their eyes closed. Mr. President, I call on you to direct NEMA to provide relief materials for my people and also to beef up of security in my senatorial zone and Benue State at large. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Mimido. Your prayers have been referred to the Senate Committee on NEMA, and they are to report back to us in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Another item on our today's legislative list is a bill titled "The Need for Government to Provide Armed Security Personnel for Our Secondary Schools." Mr. President, we may now call on distinguished Senator Hafsat Mohammed Tanko to say a short title of the bill.
Those in favor that Senator Hafsat Tanko reads towards the short title of our bill, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Senator Hafsat.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President,
My name is distinguished Senator Tanko Mohammed Hassad, representing the good people of Kogi North Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, the gruesome murder, kidnapping, and other several abuses of our children from schools across the country is what necessitated this bill titled "The Need for Government to Provide Armed Security Personnel for the Protection of Our Schools." Mr. President, this proposed bill, if eventually turns into law, it will guarantee our children, teachers, and school, and even the parents and the nation at large safety. I therefore call on you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues to consider this bill worthy of deliberation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Hafsa. Those in favor that Senator Hafsa Mohammed Tanko lays her bill before the Senate say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Hafsa. Those in favor that Senator Hafsat Mohammed Tanko leads the debate on her bill, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Hafsat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I still remain distinguished Senator Tanko Mohammed Hafsat. Mr. President and my able colleagues, if our refineries that are not even working are provided with security, other government establishments which are not even financial institutions are provided with security, then our schools at all levels need security. Our children need to be protected. If it is true that these children are the leaders of tomorrow, they deserve our protection. How do you feel each time you hear that a child is either killed, kidnapped, or even raped due to insecurity? As we speak, Mr. President, a lot of children are still going through various forms of hardship in the hands of terrorists. Mr. President, for the fear of this, some children don't want to go to school again. The common man is afraid of sending his only child to school, while the average man sends his children abroad for education. My colleagues, if we don't do something now, we would be growing an illiterate and powerless generation that will not be able to stand on their own. Mr. President, if this bill becomes law, it will guarantee not only the safety of our children, but will also give our children an assurance of security. Therefore, Mr. President, my colleagues, I want to move that everybody should support this bill. The need for government to provide armed security personnel from the protection of our schools. Mr. President, I so move.
Thank you, Senator Ahmad. Well, the problem of insecurity is becoming quite alarming in Nigeria. As Senator Hafsat had said, people can no longer sleep with one eye closed, and I think this is a very timely and important bill. Yes, Senator Mimiko.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to appreciate the sponsor of this bill. I'm talking about distinguished Senator Hafsa Tanko Mohammed. The bill, if signed into law, will greatly reduce these instant attacks on our educational institutions and will further guarantee the security of our children and even the facilitators. Mr. President, if we want to secure the future of our children, we have to support this bill so that it will become law. The only tool for societal development and even national integration is education. Therefore, there is no how much we can invest in education because this is the future of our children. Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues.
Thank you, Senator Mimido. Yes, Senator. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm distinguished Senator Gadros, representing the good people of Ogun East Senatorial District from Ogun State. Mr. President, I think the problem of insecurity in our country is not just for schools. What we should be doing now, Mr. President, is to see how the nation's security problems can be fixed, not only limiting it to schools. This is important because farmers, travelers, transporters, men and women, all are not safe. Therefore, Mr. President, we need a general overhaul and the improvement of every sector. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Godus. Yes, Senator Divine.
Thank you, Mr. President. My able colleagues, I am distinguished Senator Divine James, representing the good people of FCT North. If you take statistics of schools across country, especially private schools, you will see that the providing of security personnel for each school is a capital intensive and requires more manpower or straight of personnel. Mr. President, I'm not against this bill, but I think the security of our children should be left in the hands of the school. Every school should provide security for the protection of children. With the security challenges in the country, many schools, especially private schools, draw security personnel for the protection of their school. I think same can be done in the unity and public school and even tertiary institutions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Odoma.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Ataudi Odoma, representing the good people of Kogi Senatorial Zone from Kogi State. Mr. President, this bill wouldn't have come at a better time than now. Look at what is happening to our children. The children we see as leaders of tomorrow in places like Borno, Adamawa, Katsina, Zamfara, Niger, and other states. That if schools were like this, you and I wouldn't have attended school, and of course we wouldn't be leaders today. This is the time, Mr. President, we need more money to be injected into our educational sector. This is the time. Even if we need international or foreign aid, this is the time. The truth is, Mr. President, our schools need armed security personnel for the protection of our children. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Odoma. Without the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have exhausted all our legislative lists, all our items on today's legislative list. Mr. President, you may now call on someone to move a motion of adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ugaji Shalom, representing the good people of Imo Senatorial District from Imo State. I rise to move, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that this legislative section will be moved to Tuesday. Mr. President, I so move.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am distinguished Senator Samuel Michael, representing the good people of Taraba South Senatorial District from Taraba State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second that the Senate do adjourn next week Tuesday for another legislative session. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so second.
Those in favor that the Senate do adjourn for another legislative session, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.